Hello everyone, welcome to our training program on Manage Engine Applications Manager. My name is Selvaraj and I will be your presenter for today's session. Now, we are in week 1 of the schedule. We will be discussing on how to discover and visualize application dependency using Applications Manager. And in today's agenda, we will be covering how you can discover application, create dependency mapping, and monitor groups, see various performance metrics that are shown in Applications Manager. If you talk to any IT administrator, you would hear the most common challenges, like how to identify the root cause for slow running application due to memory leaks, what process is consuming server resources, is there any SQL query in the application taking more time to execute, report that needs to be sent to the upper management, notify the concerned team about a problem immediately before an end user reports, which are very essential for ideal infrastructure management. Let's take a simple web application architecture used in Zin Telco, where application components such as database, app server, web server, proxy, website, physical, virtual, or cloud environment has to be monitored. Based on it, IT administrator will focus on key areas for monitoring such as service performance and uptime, software components, system, and application metrics. Since in general, you might need to have different monitoring tools to get uptime on server reports, application, database, a tool for dashboard and notifying the concerned team for any failure. The next big challenge for an IT administrator is to build a viable monitoring platform to measure all the monitoring key points and learn about the application performance. Because at the end of the day, a company business unit manager could care less about servers, network. What they really care about is the application they use to run their business unit. When the performance of one of the critical applications goes bad, people will have no idea what the cause of the problem is. Ideally, administrator of the organization has to understand the source of degradation before it impacts the end user. So by doing root cause analysis to identify and eliminate a problem before it causes too much damage and cause company to lose revenue. So Bob and Susan understand the complexity of this process, which is why, like most of you, wants a simple, easy to use, but highly reliable monitoring solution, and they find it in Applications Manager. So throughout this training series, we will see how Application Manager can help Bob and Susan to minimize their daily challenges and activities. Let's talk about the overview of Application Manager before we actually jump in today's agenda. Application Manager is a single, integrated platform to monitor your entire application ecosystem. Underlying infrastructure component such as application server, database, ERP package, middleware and messaging components, virtual system, cloud resource, big data tools, and much more can be monitored. It is a web-based, single install and database architecture, and there's no need for additional IT operation to support multiple products. More importantly, it's agentless. Application Manager is a one tool to monitor your 100+ apps, and we have categorized them based upon their functionality. We have two editions, Professional and Enterprise. Professional being the standalone version, and Enterprise being the distributed environment. The major function of Application Manager is to monitor, alert if there is any performance issue, generate report, and maintain SLA management. During the entire course of this training, we will be using few terms on regular basis Let's discuss them one by one. Monitor group. It's a logical grouping of one or more resources that you have already added in Applications Manager, such as your database, VMs, application server, etc. And what is a monitor? It's a specific application server services that you will be adding in Applications Manager. Alarms. It is a notification generated based on threshold values. And what is a threshold? It is a predefined set of value based on which an alarm is generated. Now, in order to notify the end user about a problem via an email or SMS, we have various actions. Status representation, where in Application Manager, every monitor or monitor group will comprise of availability, health, numeric or string attributes. So where availability represents whether the particular monitor is up or not, and health represents the overall state of the monitor, depends upon the severity of other attribute. And we have three severities, that is clear, warning, and critical. How does Application Manager works? First, we need to trigger the discovery. And in order to trigger the discovery, we need to specify the credential. Once the credential is specified, Application Manager will connect to the remote source and collect the performance metrics. Based upon the KPI that you want to monitor, configure threshold and action based on it. Once the threshold and action is based and alarm is generated, reports can be pulled out. So now, once downloaded and ready to use, the first thing that Bob wants to do is to discover all the application that he wants to monitor. Bob can select from the available option to add the monitor in Applications Manager. The first option is manual, which is to add one monitor at a time. Second, bulk import to add similar monitor. And the third is application discovery. So selecting the bulk import option, you would be able to add monitor of the same type in bulk by giving all the configuration detail in a CSV file. Now, let me switch to the UI and show you how this is done. First, as you can see, this is our Application Manager UI, and this we call it as category view. First, let me show you how to add a new monitor manually. For this, click on New Monitor, Add New Monitor. I'm going to show you a Windows Server. Let me name it as Cart Production. And the server that I want to add. The OS type I have selected as Windows 8, and the mode of monitoring is WMI. Now here you must be wondering what is this option is. Use below credential and select from credential list. Use below credential is to provide the username and password manually, and select the credential list is a centralized resource where you save all the credential based upon the monitor type. So let me select and type it manually. And I have an option where I can enable the event log for this Windows server and perform a test credential in order to check if that is being passed. And yes, it is. And we can click on Add Monitor. Once done, Application Manager will add the monitor, and we can click on Monitor Details to see various performance metrics. So this is one way. Let's see the other one. Let me click on the Admin tab. Add or Discovery under Discovery and Data Collection. Here we have the three options. So first one we have already saw. Let me click on Bulk Import. And you can see here the monitor type, which means from the given menu, you can select the type of monitor that you want to add in bulk. For instance, let me select the URL monitor. And for every monitor type, we have given the example CSV file so that you can download and fill the details and choose the file to add it. So I've already downloaded it in my machine. Let me open that for you. So here it is. So this is the CSV file which I have entered. And as you can see, I have two URLs that I want to add. You can provide various information based upon the website characteristic, like such as in case if authentication is needed, you can provide the username and password. So let me just minimize this and show you how to add. Let me select the CSV file. Once the CSV file is selected, click on Next. And you can see the content present inside the CSV file as displayed in the tool. Please note that it has not been added yet. It is just displaying the content present inside the CSV file. And you must be wondering whether the password will be shown. When you use the CSV file and Discover in Application Manager, the password will be in encrypted format. So let me click on Start Discovery. And here at the background, the monitor is getting added. And we can click on the View Logs option to see whether the monitor has been successfully added or is there any error. Let me click on View Logs. And as you can see at the bottom, both the monitor has been added successfully. The next option is Application Discovery, which allows an administrator to discover all the resources, application, servers, database, etc. in an IT infrastructure. To begin discovery process, one of the following options can be used based on IP range, CIDR, and vCenter, which allows an administrator to discover resources in the entire VMware virtual infrastructure. Once you have selected the type, you then need to select the credential that you want to use. So Credential Manager in Application Manager will help you to store the various credentials like password, SNMP community, port, etc. for all type of monitors in a common place. This pre-configuration of credential is a central location will help you in avoiding the need to edit every monitor when a password or SNMP or SSH information changes. So once you have provided the type and selected the credential in order to add the monitor, the second option is to configure the port. In order to configure the port, you can provide the ports that are necessary or which are actually running in your infrastructure and save it. Once this is done, discovery will be initiated. Application Manager will execute the netstat command and check for the listening port, and based on it, the number of devices and the application will be added or discovered in Applications Manager. Once the discovery is complete, Application Manager will automatically categorize based upon the discovered resources. Now let me go ahead and jump to the UI and show you how this application discovery works. For this, again, let me click on the Admin tab, Add or Discover, Discovery, and then click on Add New. So first, I'm going to provide an IP that I want to scan. Let's give a name. And I've selected use below selected credential. And you can click on Add New Credential in order to add any new credential that you want to add. So now let me provide the IP range. and then click on Configure Ports. So here, as you can see, Application Manager has already provided the default port, but in case if you have any application that runs on customized port, you can provide it here. For instance, say Apache Server is running on in secured port, which is say 8443, right? And in case if you do not want to discover any of the application, so now once this is done, it will automatically save the ports. Let me close it. And then click on Discover. So now, as you can see, the discovery process has been started. And in a moment, it will show the number of devices added and application discovered. Please be noted, based upon the range, the discovery time will vary. While it is discovering, let's switch to the presentation and talk about the next topic. Now that we have covered how to discover monitors, Bob would now want to configure the relationship between his various applications, and we call it dependency mapping. Now, why is dependency mapping is so important? Because it is almost always a primary requirement to gain a global view of all discovered applications from web services to URL, view the connection and dependency among the application and their relationship with the infrastructure as a whole. Not only that, the administrator would like to perform certain tasks from the view itself. They wanted to see the live status running of entire application instead of going into the tool and check the status. The business view displays all the connection between various associated components in the IT infrastructure. This way, you can view the component associated with a particular application and quickly locate faulty device instead of having to browse through the entire infrastructure. Once the issue is identified, you can troubleshoot accordingly. Let me switch back to the UI and see if the application has been discovered or not. So here it seems the IP range that I've given, there are no application running. So let me take another instance and try this discovery again. So I'm going to log in to another instance of Application Manager. And here is the test that I've already done. So let me go ahead and click on Discover and see how it goes. So again, it is doing the scanning. And it is almost like 50% completed. It is still doing the discovery process. So once this is done, it will show the number of devices added. As you can see, it is showing number of devices added and the application added in this particular discovery process. Now, the host discovery is completed and it is performing the discovery. And at a high level view, you can see the various application or the servers that are being discovered. We can wait for a few more seconds. Great. So here, as you can see, this particular machine, has two applications that are running. One is the database and the other one is the Tomcat. We can click on the View Application Dependency Map and provide a name, cart production, and use dependency mapping and select the drop-down menu to filter the URL or monitors that has connection or all the monitors. For example, when I select the monitors with connection, in that particular server, the applications that are running with connection will be displayed. And if I select this available monitor and proceed to create business service, let me go ahead and click on it and show you how it displays. So the cart production is one of the group. The application server and database server are the category, and the Tomcat and the Postgres is shown based upon the category which has been done. So here it will give you the high-level view of the business view. Not only that, when you move your mouse over to the category, that is the monitor group, you can add or delete this from this view itself. So once this has been done, you can create the business view. And at the end, you will be able to see the high-level information about the alert, why that particular monitor is down. So as you move your mouse over to the monitor, it will show the root cause, why it is down. Now let me switch back to the presentation. Having discovered application and configured dependency, Bob then would like to do the next logical step, where he wanted to create a logical view of his heterogeneous IT infrastructure by grouping resources such as application server and systems in a monitor group. Monitor group is a handy concept that enables you to seamlessly organize your monitored resources and ease administration. It lets you organize resources by business application, geography, type, resource ownership, and much more. Even you can perform or define an alarm rule and make use of template for every group attribute to associate a threshold or action in bulk. Based on monitor group, you can fetch reports as well. Let's say you have a web application that uses certain database application server and physical server for hosting the service. Now with the monitor group concept, you can quickly assemble all these resources under a single bracket and thus facilitate in generating report, help gain insight into the real-time and historical operation trend of individual resources and group during an outage. Now, let me show you how to create a monitor group. For this, let me switch to the UI. Let me click on the new monitor group on the left top corner. Click monitor group. Give a name. And let me click on create group. Once this is done, you can associate the monitor by clicking on this button, or you can click on associate monitor on the right top. Once associate monitor has been clicked, I can make use of filter by option to select the various monitor types, or I can search the monitor name and associate to this group. For instance, I'm selecting the URL monitor type that I've already added, and I'm going to click on associate. So this monitor, go back to the monitor group. So here the health of the monitor group is clear because this particular URL is working fine. Now, there is a requirement where you want to create a subgroup. For this, on the right top corner, click on monitor group actions, click on new subgroup, and I can give the subgroup name, maybe based upon the department wise. So I'm going to give as DB server team. And let me create the subgroup. Again, in order to associate the monitor, on the right top, click on Associate Monitor and either choose Filter By or search the monitor name in order for you to add. So for instance, let me check for databases like MS SQL and add to this group. So once you have selected and click on Associate, on the right hand side, you will see the monitor that has been moved to this group that we have created. Now let me click on Back to Monitor Group on the right top, and it will show you the monitor status within this subgroup. So the Cart Travel app, we call it as parent monitor group. DB server team is the subgroup within that. And when I click on the Cart Travel app, it will show you the overall health status of this group depending upon the monitors and the subgroups that has been added. Now the application manager offers, since these server comprises an important aspect of your IT ecosystem where crucial metrics have to be monitored constantly in order to ensure efficient performance. By this, you can identify if CPUs are running at full capacity, spot the system process or application using high server resources, understand how much network load the server handle, and track the power, fan, or temperature sensor reading. The next category is virtualization, because besides server monitoring, application manager capabilities expand further to provide support for virtualization monitor. From VMware Server to Citrix Xen Server, although virtualization offers many benefits to the IT operation, it brings its own share of complexities too. It makes it tougher for IT administrators to troubleshoot application and system performance and provide low visibility into business transaction flow, which might lead to key business disruption. So with the help of application manager, the user can gain insight into the performance of your virtual infrastructure, plan capacity, and make educated decisions about allocating resources to each virtual server, prevent virtual machine sprawl, ensure high uptime and peak performance of your virtual host server and their guest virtual machine instances. The next category is an application server, which is a software framework that provides both facilities to create web application and a server environment to run them. And in real time, the productivity and performance of such server get affected due to failure of diagnosing any problem in the services or application running in that server. So issues like JVM memory leak and garbage collection issues may cause application crash and performance problem. Too many thread execution can cause increased wait time and deadlocks. So such metrics has to be monitored. That can be achieved in Applications Manager. Now let me jump onto the UI and show you few of these monitor types. So let me click on the Monitors tab, Windows Server. Let me take one of the servers that I've already added. And here you can see the total CPU utilization, memory, and disk. If I scroll down a little bit down, I can see the process detail, service detail. Because this server has been added in WMI mode, we can get the process detail and service information. And based upon the individual process which is consuming high CPU and memory, we can configure the threshold and action. Not only that, in this Windows Server, when added in WMI mode, you can monitor the scheduled task, event log, and hardware configuration. Please note, the hardware information will be available for Dell and HP monitors. Now, let me take the next monitor type. For this, let me click on the arrow mark beside the monitors, and let me click on the VMware ESX host. So this is one of the ESX server that we have added. We show the CPU, memory, data store, disk IO statistics, network information, hard details. Not only that, how this ESX CPU and memory utilization is working, the disk and network usage, and information about the virtual machines, whether the virtual machines are up or down. Not only that, when you click on the individual virtual machine, you can get further information about that virtual machine based upon the memory, disk, processors, services, and various usage metrics can be collected. The next monitor type that I want to show is the application server. So let me click on monitors, and let's take Apache. Maybe we can take the JBoss server. So here, when I click on the JBoss, I can see the various JBoss monitor. The overview show the server's response time, memory used, memory free, and other transaction information like statistics information, web JVM information can be shown in Applications Manager. So pretty much by this, if there is any performance issue, the administrator will get notified immediately, and in turn, the respective team can take necessary action. It is hard to imagine any IT department without some dedicated database, and in order to keep these databases up and running and error-free at all hours of need, it is important to keep them under constant surveillance. Based on its functionality, we have categorized them into relational database and non-SQL database. So relational database such as Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, NoSQL server such as Memcache, Couchbase, MongoDB. Not only that, DB2 installed on iSeries is also monitored in Applications Manager. So with metrics such as connection time, database size, log file, table space, your database administrator can rest assured that any irregular behavior from these databases is monitored by Applications Manager, and error notification and actions are triggered instantly. Application Manager middleware monitoring feature monitors the health and available and enterprise messaging systems. So the market players like IBM WebSphere MQ, Microsoft BizTalk, Oracle Tuxedo, Azure Service Bus can be monitored in Applications Manager. So determining the queue usage stats, the percentage of queue free, and track the messages that causing the problem can help the administrator to troubleshoot the issue. Find the oldest message age, track excessive queue depths, and manage queue traffic. So all these important key metrics are necessary for monitoring the middleware. Now, let me again switch back to the UI and show you these monitor types. So again, let me click on the monitors. Let me take a database server. Let me select Microsoft SQL and take you to one of the SQL Server database monitor page. So it shows that this database health is clear because there is no problem at all, and the availability is 100%. Let me scroll down and show you that attributes such as buffer hit ratio, cache detail, connection statistics, and various other metrics can be monitored. Let me scroll down a little bit down. We show the job statistics that are running and its health status. And the database that are running inside that SQL server can also be monitored. So what is the log size and what is the used, whether it is active, all those metrics can be monitored. Let me take another monitor type, that is middleware. So I'm going to take active MQ. So here you can see the memory thread information and details of topic, queue, subscriber can be shown in application manager. In case if your administrator says that I want to configure a threshold for a particular metric, we can go ahead and create a threshold for that. The next monitor category that I want to discuss is the ERP servers. This screen shows all the popular ERP server that Application Manager currently support, including SAP, Microsoft Dynamics AX and CRM, Oracle E-Business Suite, and Siebel Server. So by monitoring the values of NQ service and measure the log wait time to optimize the application, using the spool utilization metric, the SAP monitoring system will measure the efficiency involved in queuing job and help to react quickly to alert messages. So the request filter statistics indicate the requests that are sent between the server and the browser. So these key metrics can be monitored in Applications Manager. The next category that I want to talk about is cloud platform, because it's a growing number of organizations are leveraging cloud computing by moving their entire infrastructure to cloud. So monitoring these cloud applications has become paramount to ensure optimal performance of your cloud resources and to enhance end user satisfaction. In-depth analysis of a cloud application is very essential. So in Applications Manager, we monitor the EC2 instance, RDS, and S3 bucket information. Microsoft Azure Monitor enables user to discover virtual machines and monitor their performance. You can also monitor the health and performance of your Azure storage account. You can track vital statistics of your blobs, table, file, and queues with Applications Manager. The next monitor type or category is the big data technologies that we monitor, because the volume of data that's being created and stored by the organization is almost inconceivable. And this has increased the requirement for processing data in real time. Fortunately, there are numerous real-time processing frameworks like Hadoop, Apache Spark that support processing of large data in distributed computing environment. As a crucial to monitor this framework, where Application Manager monitors the file system, RDD details, worker, and memory information. A quick recap of the topics that we have discussed so far. Overview of Applications Manager, what Application Manager is capable of. Then in today's agenda, we saw the application discovery and dependency mapping. We saw once the application ecosystem and the components are discovered, how to group them under monitor groups, and various performance metrics of the monitor types.